of the instruments in our Willow Wise practice suture kit, along with just kind of reviewing your pad and the other instruments in here. So everything is able to zip up into here, the stapler included, so you can take it out of the package and leave it in here so that nothing slides around and everything's nice and tucked away in one item. You have a needle driver or a needle holder. Either one, you will hear those names interchanged. You want to make sure when you use your needle driver that you use your ring finger into the handle, not your third. It's kind of typical. You want to use it like scissors in your brain, but your brain has to reset and use your fourth finger in all these instruments. It gives you a little bit more leverage and control, having those two fingers to help hold it. You will notice this needle driver has teeth and some like a little serrated edge that helps you hold your needle. Some are smooth. You will develop your own preference as your practice gets better. Then you have the hemostats. It's just got a little curve on it, nice for grabbing a hold of tissue and that sort of thing. You can use these hemostats in this kit to remove any staples from your suture pad. Then you have these little scissors. These scissors are called tenotomy scissors. They have nice sharp points so you can get up underneath the suture and remove it. And in surgery or in the ER or with lacerations, you can use the tenotomy scissors for cutting off excess little snags of tissue if the laceration is not smooth, or in the operating room, they use it to kind of dissect away some of the layers of fascia and skin and that sort of thing. So you can use those many different ways. And you have your pickups. Now pickups and forceps are all the same thing. So you're gonna hear interchanging words. So anything that looks like a tweezer is a pickup or a forcep. So these, because as you can see, they have little teeth like that, these are Adsons with teeth. You can have them smooth and those are Adson browns, but for suturing the top layer of the skin, the best thing you want is your Adson with teeth. That helps you grab a hold of things better. And then the final item in here is your blade handle, or the other way they'll say is a knife handle. This is for an unprotected blade. And with an unprotected blade, there's a special way to put it on so that you don't slice your fingers. You want to grab a hold of your needle driver, and let's get a blade out. I've already opened one and we're just going to use that one. Let's find it. Because remember, a lot of these things in this kit can be reused. Okay, so go ahead and take your blade out. Be very careful not to cut yourself. Now, when you want to load your blade onto the needle driver first. Let me put that over there. And when you load it with the cutting side facing away from you. And then grab a hold of it right there, right above where the opening is. You don't want to grab it down here because you won't be able to load it. You have to grab it right there. If you grab it to the tip, it's going to crack and break off as you load it. So you want it really pretty close to that open area, and make sure you snap it in tight so you hear it snap. Now the key on this is you've got this raised area that you're going to have to kind of stick into that grooved area and then slide it on, and then it'll snap into place. Remember, as you do this, it should slide easily. If you're not sliding it easily, you just don't have the angle quite right, and play with it to figure it out. The other thing to remember is when you are sliding into place, you do not want to unsnap that, and it's very easy to put pressure on your fingers as you're trying to put it into place. And if you snap that open as you're trying to lock it in place, that blade's going to go flying and you're going to cut yourself. So make sure that you're very mindful of not letting that slip open. I do not want you to cut yourself. Now you can use this blade as a practice to cut on your suture pad if you would like, to pretend to make incisions. Remember, the suture pad is designed to self-heal its own little time you make a puncture or a cut on it. That's why it's pre-cut for you, so that it actually stays open. When you make an incision on this suture pad, it'll kind of seal itself back up, and you probably won't be able to see very well unless you actually pull it apart where you've made the incision sites. But it's great for practicing your first incision before you head to the operating room and do it in real life. Now, to remove your blade, you're going to want to grab a hold down here and then snap it into place so you can hear it. And then I tend to always take my fingers out of this. It's much harder to get the blade off than it is going on. And I tend to sometimes pop that open when I'm working in the operating room and I don't want to slice myself. So I tend to grab a hold of it closer to the top of it, and you've got to kind of angle it up and slide it off. And there's a lot of pressure, as you saw. My camera wiggle even. It's tight getting it off. Just remember, sometimes you will even break or snap that area, and that's kind of a normal area to snap when you're taking that blade off. So far, I have not snapped any of the ones that we've gotten for the Willow Wise packages, which is good. But remember, these are always usually a one-time use when in real life. So unprotected, you just want to make sure everybody knows that you're working with that is an unprotected blade, so nobody gets themselves, because they are very sharp. If you're going to reuse it in this package, I advise putting it away from you, point into the package so that you don't poke yourself, and then slide it shut like that. And then you can reuse it and try practicing loading the blade, especially when you're working as an FA student or scrub tech student or that sort of thing. That's a great skill to learn. So you've got all of that, and then the last thing is our stapler. The stapler, you can see the staples on the side to know how many you have left. We'll have another tutorial video on how to use a stapler. I know it seems pretty obvious on how to use a stapler, but I will say the first time I did it, I was off the center line and whatnot, and it's kind of fun to learn to do it before you're actually doing it in real life. So there we go. We're just going to zip it all back up, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I can't wait to see you on the next video.